you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't put your child's oxygen mask on before you put your own oxygen mask on. And I know personally, if I am malnourished, dehydrated, and have not worked out, I am so much worse at co-regulating. And I just noticed that significantly. So if you, the parent, are dysregulated, if your nervous system is all out of whack, this is going to be really hard. So then we challenge you to really take it back and self-reflect, like Jessica said, and look at what you have been doing to regulate your own needs too. If you haven't taken care of your own needs, there's no way you're going to be successful with co-regulating. So think about that aspect as well. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jessica, and this is All Things Sensory by Harkla.
We are both certified occupational therapy assistants, and together with Harkla, we are on a mission to empower parents, therapists, and educators to help raise confident and strong children of all abilities.
On this podcast, we chat about all things sensory, diving into special needs, occupational therapy, parenting, self-care, overall health and wellness, and so much more.
We are here to provide raw, honest, and fun strategies, ideas, and information for parents, therapists, and educators, as well as other professionals to implement into daily life.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey there, welcome back to All Things Sensory by Harkla. We're so happy to have you here today. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jessica.
And today we're talking all about co-regulation and why you need to be doing this if you're not doing it already.
Yep. So if you're not already, great. I actually was thinking about this because a few weeks ago, one of my clients who I've been working with for the last probably year and a half, and this client had a meltdown during our session, and it was the first full-blown meltdown that this client has had with me in the last year and a half.
You're out of the honeymoon stage.
Out of the long honeymoon stage.
Long honeymoon stage.
But it was the type of meltdown that the family has described. And so I was actually really, and I always joke about this with families, I'm like, I get really excited when the kids have meltdowns because it allows me to see what the family is struggling with and provide actual strategies for what they're actually dealing with, because I dealt with it. So I was really excited. We actually had 2 sessions where this child had full-blown meltdown, and we used a lot of different tools and strategies. And one of the big things that I talked to the family about was co-regulation. And so that's kind of where this idea came from.
And I actually had an idea when we were talking about this from a client that I recently worked with, and it was different. But the thought was the mom was like, your kids are so lucky to have you. And I was like, yeah, they are. But also, I'm not at home doing therapeutic activities with my kids all day long. I think the most impactful thing that I can provide for my children is co-regulating and using that information to help them then regulate their emotions. And that's kind of what my brain went to. I was like, yeah, but I'm not just,
therapizing them all the time.
I wish they would let me, but no, it's like I have learned to co-regulate.
Yep.
And I think we need to share that with everybody else.
All right, let's do it. Okay. So first, what is co-regulation? Quick definition: the process of 2 nervous systems syncing, where one person provides calm, safety, and guidance to help regulate the other person's emotional and physiological state. Now, this is so important for young children, babies, toddlers, early adolescents, because you actually need really good executive functioning to self-regulate. And we all know this, right? That your prefrontal cortex, which is where your executive function lives, isn't fully developed until your 20s. So for our babies, toddlers, early children, they don't have the executive function skills developed to self-regulate. So they rely on us, the parents, caregivers, therapists, the adults in their life, to co-regulate and teach them how to self-regulate.
Because kids can't self-regulate without co-regulation first. And I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind. If you take something away from this episode, keep that in mind. If you're asking your child to regulate their own emotions on their own over there,
go calm down.
Go calm your booty down. They're not going to be able to have those skills if you have not already practiced co-regulation with them.
Yes. And this was really interesting because we are going to talk a little bit about mirror neurons, which, you know, if you've ever, I think we've all experienced this, where somebody next to you yawns and it causes you to yawn. And that's actually because of the mirror neurons in our brain, not just because you also needed more oxygen, but those mirror neurons are at work there. And, you know, there's other studies that show during interviews where the person being interviewed will actually start to mirror their interviewer in like body, like motions, mannerisms, and movements, because those mirror neurons are working to be like, hey, you need to copy this person. It's important right now. And so those mirror neurons are at work when we're co-regulating with our children. They're able to not hear and copy what we're saying, but to visually see what we're doing. And then their brain interprets that as, oh, I can do that too. And then they start also doing it.
Yes. So fascinating. So really what it comes down to is, you know, if you were to peep in on a household where someone is co-regulating, let's say the kiddo's having a meltdown and, you know, you're trying to like do all the things to get them, you know, in the swing and, you know, swing them and squeeze them and like do all the sensory things to try and regulate them. I think even before we do that, what we need to see is just sharing that calmness that you have, that you should have, and get down on the floor, get down on their level, sit against a wall, and just be present with the child who is struggling, who's melting down. And you don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You can just sit there and, you know, have a nice, calm facial expression and just be calm with the child.
And I think it's so much easier said than done. Now, also, as a therapist working with a client 1 to 2 times a week, it's easier to do in the clinic setting when we have that limited time with the client, whereas at home for parents, it is more difficult. So for parents, I think it's really important to make sure that you are identifying what your reactions are when your child is having a meltdown and what you can change about what you're doing. Like, it takes a lot of self-reflection on us as parents and therapists to say, okay, what I'm doing is clearly not helping my child right now, so I need to do something different to help them co-regulate.
And going along with that is you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't put your child's oxygen mask on before you put your own oxygen mask on. And I know personally, if I am malnourished, dehydrated, and have not worked out or like exercised, I am so much worse at co-regulating. And I just noticed that significantly. So if you, the parent, are dysregulated, if your nervous system is all out of whack, this is going to be really hard. And you're probably thinking, there's no way that I can just sit down and be quiet and not yell at my child, like when they're losing their mind. Like, it's just not possible. So then we challenge you to really take it back and self-reflect, like Jessica said, and look at what you have been doing to regulate your own needs too. Have you been on the computer screen all day? Have you been on, you know, the phone all day? Have you looked at the sun? Have you put your feet in the earth? Like, if you haven't taken care of your own needs, there's no way you're going to be successful with co-regulating. So think about that aspect as well.
And for therapists, it's really the same thing, is you have to be able to keep yourself regulated for your clients.
There's nothing worse than a mean therapist.
That's true.
You know, someone who's like short and snippy and like doesn't have that ability to like empathize with the child.
Yeah, the
so
empathy
don't be a mean
huge.
Therapist.
Don't be a mean therapist. There's our tip for the day.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. So I guess actually that's tip number 1 for co-regulation, is to regulate yourself first. So figure out how to do that for yourself first. And then next is going to be focus on nonverbal communication. When your client is in a meltdown, they are not going to process language. It's just not going to happen. So you have to figure out nonverbal ways to communicate them. You can get down to communicate with them.
We need all the words here.
I know. Jeez. You will get down on their level. You will speak quietly and calmly. You will change your body language so that you're not standing and towering above them. Slower movements. What else? Quiet.
Exactly. Just anything non-threatening.
Yeah.
However you can make your body not look threatening at all.
Yeah. And I will say too, in those moments, sometimes you do have to say some things to the child, whether it's to keep themselves safe, to keep others safe. If they're hitting and kicking, you can tell them, that's not okay to kick me. We're going to do this instead. And you can keep your language very short, very simple. You don't want to be, it's not okay to kick. That's not okay. That's not nice. We don't talk or we don't kick like that. You want it to just be like, it's not okay to kick. Keep it really simple.
Yeah. I'm thinking about the kids who are like either trying to hurt me or trying to hurt themselves. And I'll just like help keep their hands safe. And I'll just calmly say, nope, we're not going to hit.
And I start with that, but if it continues, then I will typically help them to a safe place. And then I will sit a certain distance away from them. And most of the time that works.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah. Obviously the goal is to make sure that everyone is safe. And, just keeping in mind, like if you're raising your voice and saying like, don't hit, don't hurt, that's
like the yelling.
Yeah. It's going to be harder in this instance. All right. Tip number 3 is to practice predictability and safety. And we love using visuals, visual schedules, routine boards, anything to help them with those unexpected activities or things. Obviously, you can't make a perfect visual schedule every day, but you can practice that flexibility and you can just help them understand, like, first we're going to do this, then we're going to do that, and staying consistent with that. If you say, I'm thinking of my own kids, if you say, first we have to finish our dinner before we're going to have dessert, like that's just a rule in our house, and they're having a meltdown because they really want ice cream, and you're like, I get that. I would feel the same way, but what's the rule in our house? And just say it in a positive, kind, slow, calm way. Like the quieter you can be, the more impactful it's going to be. And the more they're going to listen. Yeah.
In those instances, if you start to get frustrated, which is understandable, just know that your frustration will carry over to them and make their meltdown more difficult.
Yeah,
for sure. The other one here was a safe environment, right? So we've talked about this in a past episode about primitive reflexes and how your environment can impact regulation and reflex integration. But really, you need to make sure that, your environment is safe, that you are a safe person for your child. And then I always like to recommend that families have a sensory corner of some sort, whether this is a full room, which is what we have at the clinic, which is awesome, or if this is just like a pop-up tent where your child can go when they're having a meltdown and it has pillows, blankets, whatever you need in it. I think we have some YouTube videos on this that we can link on how to create a sensory calm down corner. But having a safe place where your child can go when they are in a meltdown is going to be helpful too.
Definitely. Yes. Real quick, just want to let you know that we do have a brand new course that is launching soon. This is our sensory sleep course, and we're so excited to bring it to you just to make sleep more successful for the entire family. The course is designed for kids ages 2 and up, and it includes 0.45 AOTA CEUs or 4.5 contact hours for our occupational therapy practitioners. We have a free live webinar on October 15th at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and this is the kickoff launch for the course. We really go deep into the holistic causes of some potential sleep challenges. We give you sensory strategies that you can use throughout the day. This is a full day plan that we are giving you in order to make sleep as successful as possible. And we also have an expert-led discussion talking about safety beds, if that is an area that you're interested in learning more about. We are so excited to share this course with you. We've had so many customers reach out
hoping to get more answers on sleep in order to make it more successful. We hope to see you at the free live webinar, and you'll get a discount on the full course, so we'll plan on seeing you then.
And then we always like to pair movement with regulation. So things like rocking, deep pressure, crossing midline, pushing the tongue to the roof of the mouth, going for a walk, any of those, just basic movements, crawling, yoga, inversions, paired with the connection with the co-regulator, right? So you can do them together, you can support them. They might fight it at first. So just, remind them when you're ready, I'd love to go for a walk with you. Just making sure that you are not using like the screen time to help regulate. Like, oh, you're sad. Oh, okay, let's watch your favorite show and that'll make you feel better. We don't want to use those external tools like screen time, because kids will learn that that's how they can regulate their nervous system. And we want them to be able to regulate ideally independently without something like screen time. So try and pair movement with regulation rather than like screen time.
And if you have kids who hit or kick or have those big physical reactions with their meltdowns, you can teach them safe ways to do that, whether that's with a punching bag, with a pillow, with a giant bean bag, medicine balls, as long as they're safe with the medicine balls. But you can teach them, hey, we don't throw the lamp when we're angry. You can throw this when you're angry. You don't get to hit me when you're mad. You can hit the punching bag when you're mad. Things like that to teach them what is safe and not safe, what's, expected and unexpected. And then if they do choose to use those safe options when they feel all of that aggression in their body, it's actually going to be helpful for them.
Definitely. All right. And the next tip is to model, right? Anytime we are feeling a feeling, we can verbally talk out loud, like, what are we doing with this feeling? What strategies are we using to regulate? I use this with my kids all the time. Oh, I'm feeling really frustrated right now. I'm gonna go hop on my vibe plate. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Your vibe plate.
My vibe plate.
I actually like that. I'm gonna start calling it that, because like vibration plate is such a long thing.
It's mouthy.
It's vibe plate.
It's my vibe. I'm gonna go hop on the vibe. I'll be right back. But really just modeling those regulation strategies. Anytime I send a family home with the zones of regulation, I'm like, don't even talk about them with it. Like, you just put it on the fridge and you start recognizing and saying, hey, I'm in the yellow zone. I'm gonna take a few deep breaths. Hang tight, Modeling. If you aren't modeling self-regulation strategies, then how on earth is your child going to learn to model or how are they going to learn to self-regulate if they're not seeing that?
Yep. And then the next step from there is going to be to start identifying what tools and activities your child enjoys and what helps them feel happy. And so, after we've practiced labeling our emotions and your child is able to accurately identify some different emotions in different situations, then you're going to start identifying tools and strategies to match those emotions. So, when I'm mad, I can take a break in my swing. When I'm feeling sad, I can go ask for a hug. And identifying those things that they can do, whether that's verbally during a conversation, whether you role play it, you practice it, you make a social story, different options for different kids.
And just making sure that we are validating their emotions and we're not using these tools as like, it's a bad thing to be mad. Like, we want them to know, like, dude, we all get mad. It's okay. But there are things that we can and cannot do when we are mad. And just making sure that all feelings are valid.
All feelings are valid.
Oh gosh.
Yep, it's always, and this is what I tell families too, it's like, we don't want to try to fix our child's feelings. We don't want to fix them when they're mad. We want to co-regulate and help them through that anger and provide them tools that they can someday use independently. But we're not trying to fix it. It's not oh my gosh, you're so mad, let's make you happy again. It's like, you're mad.
that's okay.
I can understand why you're mad about whatever the situation is. Let's go to the calm down corner. Let's, grab a breathing tool, vibrating stuffed animal. Let's go be mad for a couple minutes and then let me know when you're ready and we'll go for a walk, whatever it is.
Yeah. And that's a big one too, is I will say that is, let me know when you're ready. Like, I'm here for you. Let me know when you're ready to, make a good choice to go do X, Y, and Z. When you're ready for me to give you a hug, like, let me know when you're ready. Put it on them. Just let them know that you are there, you are present with them, you're on their level, and they're in control. They can tell you, hey, I'm ready now.
Yep. Yeah, there you go.
Or as my daughter, she just opens her arms and runs to me and
needs a
hug.
hug.
I love you, Mommy.
Oh,
sorry, I was being a little bezo.
I love that. That's the best.
So sweet. Okay,
Yes.
Let's share a few bonus strategies, a few product recs that we love, we use, that can be helpful to either add to your daily routine, add to your sensory corner, add to your toolbox on the go. Number one, the Glow Pal sensory bin. We love these because they're little light up ice cubes that you put in water, and they have different colors, and you can put them in a little calm down jar, and you can look at them and spin them and move them around and throw glitter in there. Just a really cool tool.
Yep. The next one is the Weeby Calm, which we've talked about before. This is the one where you blow and the ball goes up and down, and it helps you really work on those deep breaths and really expanding the rib cage, filling up the lungs. When we're stimulating that vagus nerve, we're going to feel more regulated.
The next one is a breathing ball or a pinwheel to blow, to simulate, deep breathing, smelling the roses, and blow out the candles. I did just find out that the breathing ball is called a Hoberman sphere. In case
we learned the real name of it.
And we always call it a breathing ball, but if you Google Hoberman sphere, then you will see what this thing actually looks like, and it's definitely a must-have.
Yep. Next are vibrating cushions, vibrating pillows, vibrating stuffed animals, a vibrating oral motor tool like the Z-Vibe. That vibration can just be really regulating.
And then a projector lamp is really cool too, or the pillow that shines stars on the ceiling. Another cool way to just change the visual field, which can be very calming for a child.
Musical instruments of any sort, unless you are a parent and you are easily overstimulated by auditory input, make sure that you have some noise canceling headphones available so you don't get overstimulated. But allowing your child to make noise with those musical instruments can sometimes be regulating. I would say use some caution though, because it could be overstimulating for some kids.
And my thought on this, I just got a panda drum, which is like a meditation drum. So it's when you drum, it's not like a drum, it's like a meditation, like a singing bowl type sound. So it's very regulating, and it's
interesting.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. So use caution on the instruments that you choose.
Yeah.
Kazoos are not my favorite, but they're also regulating.
Those are very overstimulating.
Yeah. Okay, massage rollers, those vibrating massagers, sometimes those spiky balls to hold on to, fidgets. I love my little magnetic ball fidget. Something to hold, manipulate, feel in the hands.
Yep. A compression swing. This is one of our favorite tools in the clinic, but also probably our number one recommended product to have at home if possible. The compression swing provides the vestibular input with the swinging, but simultaneously that deep touch pressure, because the swing just envelops you. And I've met a very small number of kids who are hesitant initially with the compression swing simply because they have poor postural control, and when they get into the swing, it's unsupported. But once they do it a couple of times, they love it, and it's very regulating.
Yeah, and then the last thing is a grounding mat or a beanbag pillow, or some sort of cushy, comfortable beanbag to sit in, or a grounding mat, to really ground your nervous system if you're not able to get outside. So those are some bonus things if you want products, but you don't necessarily need the products.
No, I think if you're going to get products for co-regulation, I think it's going to be the products needed to make a sensory corner. I think that's what's essential.
Yeah.
And just keep in mind, therapists, parents, whoever you are, that co-regulation requires you to be regulated, you to model strategies, identifying emotions, but just always remember that your child, your clients will learn self-regulation from you.
So yeah,
there you go.
If this episode was helpful, let us know. Let us know your thoughts. If you need some more strategies on how to regulate your own nervous system, let us know. We could do another podcast episode on that. If you have questions, you can always put those in our little form that we have in the show notes, and we'd love to help you out however we can.
There you go. Okay, well, we'll be back with another episode next week.
Okay, bye. Thank you so much for listening to All Things Sensory by Harkla.
If you want more information on anything mentioned in the show, head over to harkla.co/podcast to get the show notes.
If you have any follow-up questions, the best place to ask those is in the comments on the show notes, or message us on our Instagram account, which is at harkla_family or at All Things Sensory Podcast. If you just search Harkla, you'll find us there.
Like we mentioned before, our podcast listeners get 10% off their first order at Harkla. Whether it's for one of our digital courses or one of our sensory swings, the discount code SENSORY will get you 10% off. That's SENSORY.
Head to harkla.co/sensory to use that discount code right now.
We are so excited to work together to help create confident kids all over the world. While we make every effort to share correct information, we're still learning.
We will double check all of our facts, but realize that medicine is a constantly changing science and art.
One doctor or therapist may have a different way of doing things from another.
We are simply presenting our views and opinions on how to address common sensory challenges, health-related difficulties, and what we have found to be beneficial that will be as evidence-based as possible.
By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or your child.
Consult your child's pediatrician or therapist for any medical issues that he or she may be having.
This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast.
Thanks so much for listening.